Yo, what's up, guys? Figured we could do a little quick live stream, try to find some good plays. I say this in every live stream, but, I'm going to be, unsurprisingly focusing on the books I use, which are also some of the most popular sports books: PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy, whatever, ParlayPlay, and some other ones. But you may use different sports books depending on where you're located, right? FanDuel, Caesars, BetMGM, DraftKings, like these are really big sports books that have a lot of good bets, but they're not always legal in your location. So for example, FanDuel, I think it's only legal in like 10, 15 states. And I mean, this play looks incredible, right? Logan Gilbert, over 6.5 strikeouts, right? You're getting this at plus 162 on FanDuel. All the other books pricing it, around plus 130. So what's crazy about sports betting, again, compared to any other market, is like, you look up the price of Facebook stock, there's one price. You go to Fidelity, you go to E-Trade, you go to Robinhood, maybe some different fees of a couple cents. You're going to see the price is $294.26, right? What's crazy about sports betting is for the exact same bet, right? It's like for the exact same stock, you're getting crazy different prices, right? BetMGM is pricing this plus 130, FanDuel plus 162, Caesars plus 111, DraftKings plus 125. But anyways, let me shut up for a sec and we can start looking for some plays, hopefully find some value. So like here's a play, right? And it looks like some of these lines just moved. There may be games starting. I don't know. But what we'll do is we'll take a look at some of these bets. So we can start out in the WNBA, right? OddsJam is recommending this Courtney Williams play, right? It's recommending Courtney Williams over 6 rebounds. So why is it recommending it, right? OddsJam's a pretty simple platform. All it's doing is going to Underdog Fantasy, reading in all these lines, and pointing out discrepancies, right? That's all this tool is doing. Every sports book has, tens of thousands of lines, different things you can bet. You can see there's a ton of stuff on Underdog Fantasy. 99.9% of these bets aren't profitable, because sports books bake in the vig, the juice. So you need to find big discrepancies, right? So out of the thousands, tens of thousands of odds on FanDuel Sportsbook, this is currently the best play, the biggest discrepancy, right, between FanDuel and the rest of the market. So we can start out with Courtney Williams. So we'll go to player rebounds, take a look at this play on Courtney Williams. So we'll go to Williams and we'll take a look at this, right? So you can see, pretty clear value. We're always looking for an edge as a sports bettor. Underdog Fantasy is pricing her line at 6. You got PrizePicks at 6.5. You got FanDuel, DraftKings, all these other sports books at 6.5, right? And in fact, these books have the line at 6.5 with the over as the favored outcome, right? Like Betano, Hot Streak. These sports books have her likely to go over. They have her over more likely, right? It's the favored outcome, the juiced outcome. And Underdog Fantasy has her line too low at 6. So this is a play that seems pretty good to go with. So we got to move quickly to get in on some of these good bets. So what we can do is just kind of like, okay, go with some of them. So we can go here to Courtney Williams, and we want to take her over 6 rebounds. We can take a look at this play on Jordan Canada, under 5.5 assists, right? So different games. Okay, cool. Tanner Bibby, under 3 runs. Like a lot of people think, you should focus on a specific sport. But the truth is that's just like not, correct. So what we can do is include this PAV play under 19. So there we go. We have, 4 picks right here, right? 4 plays with an edge. And I've explained before, but it's really useful. And I'll just pull this up here to kind of know how many picks you should be going with on each of these platforms, right? So like, for example, on Underdog Fantasy, you want to be going with, and there's an article about this. You can just look up this article if you want to read more about it. And we have tons of videos on all this type of stuff, all these platforms, Underdog Fantasy strategy. But on Underdog, you either want to place 3 pick entries with no insurance, 4 pick entries with insurance, 5 pick entries, it doesn't matter, right? And you have to win roughly like 55% of your picks to be profitable. So what we're going to do is we're going to load this up, and it's a 4 pick entry. We want to play it with insurance. and then we can lock it in. I mean, pretty simple, right? So 4-pick entry with insurance. We have Courtney Williams over 6, Jordan Canada under 5.5, Tanner Bibby under 3, Pav under 19. 4 picks with an edge. And of course, one of these lines moved. So hopefully some of you were able to get it down. Let's see which play moved. Of course, they move, the best play. They move the highest profit margin play, which happens sometimes, right? Great bets, they unfortunately don't last forever. So I'm sure some people were able to get it down, but maybe not everyone. So we can see this line just moved. But here's an interesting play. Keith Langford in TBT under 12.5, right? So we could go with this as our pick, right? So if you take a look at PrizePicks and you go to TBT, his line, so this game's about to start, so we should probably lock this in now. His line's at 11.5. Where does ParlayPlay have his line? We can take a look. So let's go to ParlayPlay. They're not even posting a line on him. So PrizePicks is a bigger company, in general tends to be sharper. So we found a discrepancy in the market. So whatever, we can go with this as our 4-pick entry. And then I'll go ahead and I'll lock it in. So then, whatever, first play of the day right here, 4-pick entry on Underdog Fantasy. Not every bet's going to win, but because we're finding discrepancies in the market, plays with an edge, we'll win long term. I mean, it's pretty simple. Like, a lot of people, when I started out sports betting, they think like the way to beat the books is like, oh, I'm going to create a better model than PrizePicks, right? I'm going to create better projections than PrizePicks. But like, you got to realize these sports books are billion-dollar companies with really good data feeds, who have thousands of employees, engineers working on their models. You're not just going to be able to spin up a better model than FanDuel, Caesars, DraftKings. But all these books, right, they all set lines independently, right? So you can see here, right, all these books are kind of moving around odds. They're all taking bets from different customers, moving around lines. So you just find discrepancies in the market, right? Like, I'm not going to be able to outmodel FanDuel Sportsbook, but BetMGM, billion-dollar company, taking bets, moving around, their odds. Same thing with Caesars, same thing with DraftKings, same thing with all these sports books, right? So you have all these data points telling you, hey, this line should be priced around plus 130. All these sports books with sophisticated models. And on FanDuel, you're getting plus 162, right? So pretty clear value. So we can go ahead and refresh this. Or here's another one, right? It's I call it rational sports betting, and it doesn't mean the bet's a lock, right? That's not how EV betting works, or that's not how sharp sports betting works. You're not going to win every bet. But when you're finding market discrepancies, plays with an edge, right, where you're getting better odds than the no-vig odds, and we have a ton of videos about what are no-vig odds? How do you calculate them? This column is your profit margin. How do you calculate profit margin? We have tons of videos about that type of stuff, full-length videos, 30-minute tutorials, going through all this math, how to make money sports betting if you want to learn more. But if you don't care, it ultimately boils down to just like find these discrepancies and lock them in. And you don't need software to do that, right? Like, you don't have to use OddsJam or any other software. All you have to do is find these discrepancies. But you got to remember, right, this market is always moving. Odds are always changing. So you just have to move quickly, right? I mean, just like the price of a stock, right, is constantly changing. Good economic news comes out. Company's making a lot of money. The stock price goes up. The CEO did something bad. Price goes down a bit, right? The market's always adjusting to new information. And it's obviously the same thing in sports betting, right? Weather changes, all that stuff, lineup changes. So if you actually take a look at Underdog MLB, they're kind of one of the accounts I follow just because they release official starting lineups, right? So when official lineups come out, like here's the Twins starting lineup. So who are the Twins playing? So we can go here and we can just be like, okay. And you can see Underdog Fantasy locked the market. They just move lines really quickly. These great, you're really in a race against the sports books to find good betting opportunities, right? So the White Sox are playing the Twins, right? Whatever. So whoever's pitching for the White Sox, once the Twins starting lineup comes out, right, his pitching props are going to change. Like if all these hitters are bad, or more likely to strike out, then his strikeout line may move up from 3.5 to 4 or 3.5 to 4.5, right? So these lines are constantly moving around, Also, it's just a lot of people are like, I can outsmart the sports books. You got to remember that also means you think you're smarter than everyone else. Because, for example, if you think every sports book is pricing things wrong, you got to remember, like, sports books, just like the price of a stock, if everyone comes in and buys a stock, the price goes up. Demand is higher than supply. If everyone comes in and hammers Logan Gilbert's, over 6.5 strikeouts, these odds will continue to move lower, right? Like, if everyone comes in and starts hammering this at plus 140, sportsbooks will drop odds from plus 140 to plus 120 to plus 110, right? Sportsbooks don't just take risk, right? They move around their lines to try to get equal action coming in on both sides. That's how sportsbooks work. They have models that take all these bets, right? They see where the betting volume is coming in. They move around their lines slightly. They're following lineups, whatever. So, anyways, let's go back here. We can go to the fantasy optimizer. We can refresh this and we can take a look. Take a look and see if there's anything else that's interesting. So maybe this play, right? Naneka under 9 rebounds. So if you take a look here and we go back to this little, there are different, tools or whatever that you can kind of take a look at. So what I like about this fantasy optimizer is it obviously focuses on like PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy, those types of platforms. Whereas this, kind of tool, called the sportsbook screen, it just shows you raw data, right? It's literally just reading in millions of odds and showing you the raw data. And you can kind of like take a look and look for value. And again, the general premise is like, which is true. I mean, unless you're a PhD in computer science with a team of PhDs out modeling FanDuel, it's like a pretty simple concept, right? You're not going to be able to create better models on these sports books, but when you find discrepancies between them, when you find one sports book screwing up, you can still find plays with an edge. So you can see here, Naneka, right? Underdog Fantasy has a rebound line at 9. PrizePicks is lower, 8.5. ParlayPlay, lower, 8.5. FanDuel, DraftKings, billion-dollar companies, really sophisticated models, have her line at 8.5, and they both also have the 8.5 juiced, right? They have the under juiced. So they have the under as the favorite outcome. So if you want another play on Underdog Fantasy, like, that's a good play to go with. Underdog has the line at 9. Sportsbooks are in general at 8.5 with the under favored, right? Hot Streak, another sportsbook, has the line at 8.5 with the under favored. Betano is a kind of smaller sportsbook, but whatever. They have the line at 9.5. Again, you're going to find discrepancies in the market sometimes, but regardless, like, that seems like a pretty good bet to go with. They also have the under 9.5 really heavily favored. Underdog at 9, all the sportsbooks at 8.5, nearly all of them, the biggest ones that are taking the most betting volume, have the under favored. So this would be a great play to go with. And again, like, some people will be like, I don't know anything about the WNBA. It's like, it doesn't matter. If you watched every single WNBA game there was, every single one, you're still not going to be able to create better projections than FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever, right? They have hundreds of employees watching their lines, billion-dollar companies, really data feeds. Doesn't matter how much of the sports you watch, right? It's all about following the data, finding these discrepancies in the market. And it's not like, glamorous, but it's what makes money. So you can see here, another thing is, like, the more books you have, the better. So if you use FanDuel, looks like there's a lot of value on FanDuel right now. Again, I love FanDuel. I just can't bet on it right now. It's not legal in my location. So what I'll do is I'll filter it out, and we can go over to ParlayPlay. So we got down a play on Underdog Fantasy. So let's reload ParlayPlay, which is a kind of cool sports book. And you can see, unfortunately, this line moved. I was too late because I was talking. They had his line at 5.5, which would have been a great bet. And now it's at 5. So we missed it. But again, like, the strategy for these fantasy sites, which is different than sports books. I just currently can't bet on FanDuel. It's not legal in my location, or, Caesar Sportsbook right here. Otherwise, I would. Like, these are great sports books. You can make a lot of money off them. When I'm home in Virginia, I place a lot of bets on them. But the way these fantasy sites work, like ParlayPlay, right? PrizePicks, that only take parlays, right? On Underdog Fantasy on ParlayPlay, you can't just place one bet, right? I can't bet this. I need to make at least 2 picks. And it's the same thing on PrizePicks, right? I can't just bet this. They say, no, you got to include another pick. Now I can bet it. Now I can't, right? You need at least 2 picks. But the way that ParlayPlay works is, right, like just like PrizePicks, they don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under. So if you look at Mookie Betts, right, you take his under, you take his over, payout doesn't change at all, right? Still a 3x payout. So all you want to do, and this should make sense if it doesn't, again, tons of full-length videos, trying to mainly focus on just giving out picks in these live streams because, you know, lines, when I drop them on Twitter or whatever, like can move pretty quickly sometimes, especially depending on the sports book, is because ParlayPlay, right, just like PrizePicks, they don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under. And all the sports books, literally every sports book is telling you his under should be favored. His under is a lot more likely. That's why this bet is a good bet on ParlayPlay. Of course, we weren't able to get it, but this is a platform where they're not changing your payout based on you selecting over versus under. And every single sports book, every single data point is telling you he's a lot more likely to go under as opposed to over, right? And some people will always be like, oh, I love watching Zach Wheeler. I think he's going to go over. And it's like, well, you're wrong, right? Because literally every billion-dollar company, every sports book with a sophisticated model is telling you his under is a lot more likely as the favorite outcome. And if his over should be favored, then guess what? You know, a bunch of sharp bettors would have come in and bet the over until it was favored, right? It's just like trading, you know, it's just like trading stocks, right? If you think Facebook is undervalued, right, that means you think you're smarter than everyone else. Because if it were undervalued at $294.26, I mean, there's millions of people who wake up every day and their full-time job is think about if a stock or a company is undervalued or overvalued. So if you think this price is wrong, right, it means you think you're smarter than the market. You think you're smarter than everyone else. Because if the price should actually be higher, then it already would be, right? If it should be worth $500, it already would be. There's billions of people, no, millions of people, hundreds of millions, I'm not sure, who wake up every day, think about companies, if they're undervalued, overvalued, and if the price should be higher or not. And if people buy it and there's more demand than supply, the price will go up to $500 or, you know, $300, whatever, but you get the point. So when you just bet with your gut, it also means you think you're smarter than literally everybody else who's betting on sports, right? So you can see here's a play on Fliff. So Fliff is a sports book. Like FanDuel isn't legal. Most of these traditional sports books aren't legal, you know, in Texas. They're not legal in Florida, not legal in California, but Fliff is. So Fliff is definitely a sports book I recommend getting. Again, I included all my refer a friend codes below for like all the main books I use. But if you take a look here, like at the Braves game, I think Fliff has an $100 sign-up bonus when you sign up, right? Like it's a simple concept. It really doesn't change based on, you know, the sports book you're betting on. But you can see right here, I'm trying to pull up Fliff. They have Adrian Hauser's line, right, at plus 115. They have his under priced at plus 115, right? It's literally like if you go to E-Trade Robinhood and they all have a different price for Facebook stock, everyone's telling you it's worth like, you know, $100, and then on Fliff it's $115. It's like, whoa, we found a big discrepancy. So what we can do is we can go to the MLB, we can go to the Braves game, which starts at 4:15 p.m. And again, we want to move quickly, right? And we want to take the under. So you can pull up these line movement charts, whatever. Like, you know, some people like to do a little more digging. Some people like to look into historical data. A lot of people will be like, you know, oh, you didn't consider how he pitched last game. So I just bet this on Fliff. Again, I used to be able to pull it up on my computer. I can't anymore, but you'll see it, you know, whatever. I just bet it. So again, like a lot of people will be like, oh, you didn't consider last game. He got 20 strikeouts or he got 0 strikeouts, right? It's like, it doesn't matter because it's all baked into the market, right? If he had 10 strikeouts last game or 0 strikeouts last game and gave up 10 runs in the first inning, it's all priced into the market. It's all baked into the odds. It's all public information. Everyone else knows. The sports books know. You don't have an advantage by looking at his historical games. It literally does nothing. It's all baked into the market, right? Just like if Mark Zuckerberg died last week, that would already be baked into the price of the stock now, right? It's public information. So what we can do is we can go here and we can refresh this. We can take a look for some bets. So you can see this is another book. I gave out a play on Twitter a bit ago. They only let you bet $500 on the platform per day, but it's called Jock Market, and they literally copied the payouts of PrizePicks. They have the exact same payouts as PrizePicks. So a lot of people would be like, oh, if they literally copy the payouts of PrizePicks, why would I get, Jock Market? And again, like all of these books set lines independently. So currently they have Dylan Cease at his hits allowed line at 4.5. That's a profitable bet. You look at PrizePicks, right? Where do they have Dylan Cease? So if we go over to the MLB and we go to hits allowed and we pull up Dylan Cease, they have his line at 5. So all these books have, so even though they have the same payouts, you should have both sports books if you can get them, because again, they set different lines. So right now, the profitable bet, the value is on Jock Market. And again, it's not as, sexy of a platform, not as like popular, glamorous, whatever. But if you want to make money, it's a good sports book to have. They also have an $100 deposit match with my refer a friend code Alex. And again, like the more books you have, the more promos you're going to get, the more profitable betting opportunities, whatever, right? Like yesterday on Underdog Fantasy on the live stream, I gave out a bunch of plays for this Underdog Fantasy promo. They had like, they had increased payouts, right? Where you're betting 10 to win 40 as opposed to betting 10 to win 30. So you're going to see here, this entry was voided, so I didn't lose any money. Here I lost $10. Here I lost $10. I made 40 here. I made 40 here. Net profit of $60 by just doing the Underdog Fantasy promotion. That was insanely profitable, right? So it's not like, every bet's going to win, every promo's going to win, but like PrizePicks has Taco Tuesday. All these books have different promos. So this sportsbook, ParlayPlay, what's cool about this one is every single day they let you, this is called slide the line. It's only a max of $20, but every single day, if there's a player you really like Mookie Betts, right? If you really think he's going to go over today, what you can do is his line is currently set at 10.5, but you can slide the line to 10, right? So you can get half a point of value, which again, all these things may seem small, but it adds up to a lot of money, sports betting. So another sports book that I started using, it's legal in California, Texas, Florida, all really the really big states, is called Hot Streak. They have a $100 or $200 deposit match. Literally, the reason I signed up for this platform is because they have a $200 deposit match. I signed up like 3 weeks ago. You put in 200, there's 400 in your account. All these books do the exact same crap, right? Caesars, Hot Streak, at the end of the day, all they do is take bets and try to beat the sports bettor, right? So they all basically do the same thing. So this is like a marketing cost for them to try to incentivize new customers to sign up. They basically give you $100, $200 depending on the sports book. So I signed up literally to get the free $200. And then I realized there's a fair amount of profitable plays on this platform. So if you take a look at Hot Streak, what you're going to see is they run what's called, it's pretty interesting. They run hourly promos, hourly odds boosts. So you can see here, they're literally telling you this play is profitable. It's only $10 max bet size, but they run these hourly promos, hourly odds boosts, try to keep you coming back to the platform, right? So they're literally telling you this play is profitable. So OddsJam obviously does a pretty good job at picking them up, and then it just points them out to you. So Hot Streak right now has Zach Neto to get a hit at minus 189 odds. I've never heard of this guy in my life, but Hot Streak has him at minus 189. And then we have $4 billion companies telling me this should be priced around minus 270, minus 275. It's about as clear as it gets, right? I'm never going to create a better model than FanDuel. If I had a PhD and I watched every Dodgers game or every Angels game, still wouldn't be able to price this better than FanDuel can. And until you understand that, you're not going to make money sports betting. So unfortunately, Hot Streak works the same way as PrizePicks. You need at least 2 picks. So typically what I do is just like find another thing to pair with. Elizabeth Williams under 6.5 rebounds. Sure, whatever. So I pair these together. You can only bet a max of $10, but they run them every single hour, right? So these promos run every single hour, right? Because they're trying to keep you coming back to their platform. So literally, I mean, again, I put in like 500 or maybe $1,000. Loss. But like, again, like this is a parlay only sports book. So you can see, been on a little bit of a losing streak there, but then boom, 664, right? So like, you know, pretty easily just with these daily odds boosts, that's the main thing I've been betting, but been able to make probably like $1,000 or $525, whatever it is. I forget how much I deposited total. And again, like just taking advantage of profitable promos. These promos are only on Hot Streak. These lines are only on Hot Streak. The more books you have, the better. So we can check out Jock Market. If you want to play to go with, I mean, you know, whatever, like here are some picks. Sleeper, not currently any plays available. And again, I'm never going to like force a bet just because I'm on live stream. I just try to show you, like, I literally just go from book to book to book, trying to find value. Sometimes there's really good plays. Sometimes there's not, you know, sometimes. So you can see this play on the NECA is still available, which seems pretty good. So like, here's some more plays on Underdog Fantasy. And then we can go to PrizePicks. We can see if there's anything that jumps out on PrizePicks. So PrizePicks has the same line on Jordan Canada, whatever, but you know, not a ton of bets. We can go back here and we can refresh this. Here are some plays on Jock Market now. So if you want to play on Jock Market, here is going to be the time to do it. And again, my refer a friend codes are below. On Jock Market, you just want to use Alex. Get a $100 deposit match. So this plays incredible, right? Again, this platform works the same way as PrizePicks, right? Like it literally doesn't matter. They have the exact same payouts. And the way this platform works is, right, doesn't matter if you take the overs, the unders, right? So you like this, right? It doesn't matter if you take overs, unders, they're not changing your payout. I mean, just think critically, right? Think rationally. So follow the data. Every sportsbook has the under heavily favored, right? Kyle Schwarber's, I don't care. If he's your favorite player, every sportsbook is telling you, yo, this guy's a lot more likely to go under as opposed to over. So include the under in your Jock Market entry. This platform has been really profitable for me. Even though they have the same payouts as PrizePicks, I've made a lot more money on it. I've literally only been using it a couple months, already won 36K. So long story short, it's a really good platform to have if you like money. Again, like I'm not saying my sports betting strategies are the most fun, most interesting, but this is how you make money, right? You find discrepancies in the market. And once I learned that, once I realized that, it's when I started to make a lot of money sports betting. So you can see there's some plays on Fliff, whatever. There's some more plays on Jock Market. Sometimes, like, you know, it's useful to just like look through some of these markets on your own because they're not really caught on the fantasy optimizer. So like at the end of the day, you got to remember, like, OddsJam software is just using data to try to point out good bets, right? So this play on Dante Green, it's recommending his over 27.5 PRAs, which is a line on ParlayPlay. You have two other companies who are going to have a better model than you, who are smarter than you, telling this line, smarter than me too, telling you this line should be set higher at 28.5. So that's a good play to go with. So you can see there's actually a fair amount of plays on ParlayPlay. Maybe we can get a play down. Let's go. So what we can do is we can go here, and then let's go back to ParlayPlay. And again, a lot of people, oh, I don't know this platform. I don't like it. Well, if you like money, then you're going to like it. Well, actually, I'm not sure that's completely true. They have kind of low bet sizes. So like on Underdog Fantasy, you know, Underdog Fantasy tends to cap me now around $100. So if I go here to like whatever, like esports, you know, if I just create an entry, you're going to see they're capping me. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but it says your max bet size here. And for me, it's $100. On ParlayPlay, it's $100 or $60. Underdog Fantasy, I used to be able to get 500. That's the hard part about sports betting. Like a lot of people are like, how would a sports book ever have a profitable bet, right? How would they ever be able to make money if customers knew how to find them? Is you have to remember, all they have to do is this. They take their smart customers who are making money off them and they limit you, right? Underdog Fantasy said, hey, you used to be making $5K a month betting $500 to $2,000 max bet sizes. Guess what? Now we're only going to let you bet $100, so you can still bet on our platform, but now you're probably only going to make $500 a month, right? So that's all they have to do. And again, most sports bettors aren't, mathematical. So all they do is they take the winning bettors, cut down their bet sizes a bit, and that's about it. So there are definitely people who make money, but at the end of the day, for a sports book, they can screw up their lines sometimes, right? Underdog Fantasy has thousands of lines. They don't really care if 2%, 1% of their lines are profitable because they know most people aren't mathematical, searching around, looking for plays with an edge. And even if they were, what they can do is just be like, oh, we'll only let that person bet $100 now. Now, that's not meant to discourage you from betting on these platforms because, you can still make money, right? On ParlayPlay, I've only been betting on this platform for a few months. I'm not even sure when it launched, but I've placed 223 entries this year. I'm up $2,000 of profit. So I've made about $10 profit per entry placed, right? And I've bet a total of, $12,000. So pretty good ROI, right? Like 18% ROI. And that's only with they usually only let you bet $60 or $100. But anyways, what we can do is we can go back here, we can refresh this and start, looking for some picks. So here we have 4 already to go with. And a lot of people will be like, this doesn't make sense. How are we betting this guy? So let's go here and we want to take her under, right? And we want to take this guy as over. Matt Manning. Then we want to take Detmers under 4.5, right? And we want to take Hauser over 3.5. And a lot of people, I know what you're thinking. Wait, you already bet this guy, Hauser. Didn't you already bet him to go under on Fliff at plus 115 odds? Yes, but on ParlayPlay, you're getting minus 113 odds, right? In 6 pick entries or 5 pick entries. We also don't even have to include this play. It's not that profitable. But for the sake of example, what we can do is we can kind of go through why, this play is still profitable. And then we can go look for some plays, right? Right, if you're betting on a guy, if his under 3.5 strikeouts is at plus 115 odds and his over 3.5 is at minus 113. Nope. Let's do 30. Right, this is called a crossed market, or there's arbitrage, right? So his under was plus 115 odds on Fliff. His over is minus 113 odds on ParlayPlay. So on the over, you only have to bet $113 to win back 100 in terms of ParlayPlay's implied odds on the over. On the under, it's plus 115, right? It's probably a horrible way to explain it. So what I can do is I can just, let's see if there's anything available. So here you can see this play is available on the under 3.5 as well. So what we can do is we can go to this tool. It's called the Arbitrage tool, and we'll just remove this anyways. And again, we have tons of tutorial videos. It takes maybe 10 minutes to explain, so I don't really want to go through the math behind arbitrage. But essentially, when sportsbooks are super out of sync with one another, right? When sportsbooks have way different odds from one another, and again, you can just read the tutorial video, or you can, watch this tutorial video. When sportsbooks get super out of sync with each other, there are times where you can place a bet on 2 different sportsbooks and make a risk-free profit, right? So here, for example, between FanDuel and Betway, This is called Arbitrage. You can bet on Tatus to get over 1.5 hits on FanDuel and him to get under 1.5 hits on Betway at minus 150 and make a risk-free profit due to massive discrepancies in odds. So again, it sounds crazy, risk-free money sports betting. But again, most plays aren't arbitrage plays. You're going to see there are millions of odds across the sports betting market, right? So you need a discrepancy to be really big. But if you had Hot Streak and FanDuel, you could place a bet on both sports books and make a risk-free profit due to massive discrepancies in odds. And you may be like, is this even that big of a discrepancy? It's probably going to be a massive discrepancy. FanDuel has this at plus 162. Hot Streak has this at minus 104, right? So you can take the under 5.5 at minus 140. You're betting 140 to win back 100. You can bet the over 5.5 at plus 162. You're betting 100 to win 162 in profit. So huge discrepancy. So you could make a 3.5% risk-free profit by betting the over on FanDuel, the under on Hot Streak. So literally, this is how I started sports betting. This is how I made my first $40,000. I'd get home from work, and I would just look for arbitrage bets. And it may not seem like a big deal, but again, like out of college, let's say I had $250 in my FanDuel account, 382 in my Hot Streak account. That's $22.92 in risk-free profit. Risk-free profit, right? That pays for dinner. That pays for a six-pack. So, but again, you have to be fast, right? These lines are constantly moving around, right? Lines are always moving. So these arbitrage bets, just like the best plays on Underdog Fantasy, they're not going to last forever. So it's good to know how to navigate these sports books quickly. And again, you have to, a lot of people would be like, oh, a 3.5% risk-free profit doesn't seem that good. It's like, first of all, you have to remember that's $22.92. Even if you only have, $600 in these two sportsbook accounts, you make a risk-free $22.92. Second of all, there's no risk. Third of all, this game is today, right? If you hit 2% arbitrage bets, just 2% ROI arbitrage bets, risk-free profit of 2% every day, this game is today, right? That's 60% in a month. And that's why sports betting is so powerful, right? Is you have to remember, in general, there are times we'll be betting on games tomorrow, but in general, your return is daily. So if you can figure out how to get an edge, right, of 2%, let's say 2%, that's 60% a month. This game is today. If you can get a 2% ROI on your baseball bets every month, you're going to see a 60% ROI total, right? So that's why sports betting is really, 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 powerful. So what we can do is we can go here. Again, I can't use FanDuel, so I'm going to filter it out and go back to Fliff. But anyways, this plays an arbitrage bet, but maybe we just skip over that play. We go back to ParlayPlay, and we can refresh this, and we can kind of see what's out there. So we can skip this play on Hauser. Some people will be like, oh, I don't like to hedge. I don't like arbitrage betting. It's kind of up to you. But we can also check this so the fantasy optimizer shows plays. We can also look here. So you can see here, right? Sometimes you can just find good bets looking at the raw data. So you can see Natasha Howard, her line is 24.5 on ParlayPlay. All the sports books have her line at 25.5. So I'm not sure completely why the fantasy optimizer isn't showing that play. But you can see sometimes what I do using this is I kind of just scan through the market and look for big discrepancies, right? Where can I find big discrepancies between all these sports books? So here there's a discrepancy between, ParlayPlay and Betano, 19.5 versus 18.5. And again, most plays aren't profitable. Usually there's no discrepancies. Here, the odds are roughly similar on every sports book. They all have her line at 15 or 25.5. There's no value. Here, her line's, Jordan Canada, 21 on ParlayPlay, 20.5 on all the other sports books. That play seems decent. But regardless, we can go back here and we'll try to find two more picks on ParlayPlay. So kind of take a look through. I mean, this play on Dante Green seems pretty good. ParlayPlay has his line at 27.5. Underdog, PrizePicks have his line at 28. So it's okay, we can take him over 27.5 PRAs, right? And maybe we do the slide the line thing. We move it to 26.5. right? So maybe we do that, right? Why not? We got to take advantage of these profitable promos. And what else do we like here? So we can see if there's anything else we want to go with. McCowan under 12 points. Sportsbooks all have her line at 11.5, right? That's what odds I'm showing you. All the books have her line at 11.5, right? ParlayPlay has her line at 12. So that seems like a pretty good play, right? So we can go here and we can take her under. And you also could do the slide the line here. Maybe we decide, 1 point here in percentage form is less of a big difference than 1 point here. So maybe we use the slide the line there. And we can go to, this sportsbook screen. And we want to go to player points. And we can just take a look at all the raw data, kind of see what's going on. So let's take a look at her. ParlayPlay, it looks like, did they just lock her market? They have her line at 12. All the sports books are at 11.5. So let's try to bet it quickly. So I want to do an insured 5-pick entry. Oh, only $20 max for this promo. I forgot about that. So we'll hit this for $20. And we were able to get it down. So this is the play, right? And I did the little slide the line promo. Again, my refer a friend code, if you don't have ParlayPlay, you want to get it, is below. So it's like, okay, we can go back here. Again, I try to just show, even though, I can't bet on these sports books currently. You can see there's some really good bets on FanDuel. Oftentimes they screw up a lot of hitter props. I mean, here you can see a play on Michael Pereira. It looks like lines UFC. For already next week, lines are ripping towards Pereira versus Steven Thompson, right? Look at this. His line has gone from plus 185 all the way down to plus 155 on Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker out there. So this game's a week away. This fight is a week away, but this would be a play I'm locking in. Like, I would absolutely lock this in, right? So essentially, sportsbooks posted odds. They had Pereira as a bigger underdog. My assumption is a bunch of really sharp bettors, sports betting hedge funds, syndicates, said, no. Pereira is too big of an underdog at plus 185. He should be closer to plus 115. So they took advantage of the opportunity and have hammered it down. But again, because all these sports books set lines independently, I mean, you can see every single sports book is ripping this guy's odds lower from plus 190-ish to plus 155-ish. FanDuel, since all these books set lines independently, they all have to update odds. FanDuel is asleep at the wheel, still offering plus 172. They should have his odds lower. I guarantee you, if you set a calendar reminder, you check next week, FanDuel will not be offering plus 172, right? They will be offering plus 150 or whatever, and the line may keep moving. So some people will be like, well, this fight's a week away. I'm not sure. Should I place the bet? Great bets aren't going to last forever. So if you don't bet it, there's going to be some other people who do because they're offering too good of odds, and the line will come down. So it's kind of up to you if you want to bet that or not. Republic of Ireland. So again, like lower profit margin bets, we don't really care about as much. In general, like 1.5% and above, I'll take. So here's a play on Fliff. And again, like if you use FanDuel, 1, 2, 3. Those are the three best bets, right? There are literally tens of thousands of lines on Caesars, FanDuel, DraftKings. Currently, OddsJam saying there's nothing good on Caesars. There's literally thousands of lines for each game. For each game, there's thousands of lines on Caesars. Currently no value, but there's 3 really good bets on FanDuel. And again, they're not locks. They're not guaranteed to win. They're just plays with an edge. And the market's always moving, right? Sharp actions coming in, whatever. So, and again, once we get to a new hour, right, there will be a new hot streak promo. So every hour, you remember to check this platform. They're going to have a new promo going on. They run those $10 odds boosts, which we discussed at the start of the live stream. So we can also go here. We can check PrizePicks, stuff like that. And again, like tons of videos online, tons of articles I've written. Feel free to DM me, email me. My email's in my Twitter bio, but any questions you have, about sports betting in general, anything you want help with, happy to help answer your questions, stuff like that. But hopefully this video was helpful. This live stream was helpful. Don't see a ton of new plays right now, so going to call it, and have a great rest of your day.